News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
KVNU News Time is 5:03. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Roof Rescue. What is called a transfer agreement, which has been in the works for several years, will now allow Salt Lake Community College fashion and design students the chance to seek more education to find opportunities in the outdoor industry through Utah State University. The new agreement gives two-year students from Salt Lake Community College's Fashion Institute the chance to apply to Utah State University's Outdoor Product Design and Development program. Students applying to the program must submit a portfolio after having been formally accepted to USU's program. That means Salt Lake Community College students, after 2 years in USU's outdoor program, may graduate with a bachelor's degree. The Salt Lake Community College students who graduate this spring can join USU this fall. This new partnership allows USU's Outdoor Product Design and Development Program students to concentrate their studies on product design or product line management, while Salt Lake Community College Fashion Institute students can focus on visual merchandising or technical apparel design. Mojde Sakaki, Fashion Institute Program Manager at Salt Lake Community College, said there are 17 thriving outdoor apparel companies in Utah, and students graduating as a result of the transfer agreement will continue to provide a sustainable workforce for those companies. Hands-on training and gaining industry experience receive a strong emphasis at both programs. KBNU News Time is 5:05. For the weather tonight, looks like partly cloudy skies is our forecast for this evening. We do have a slight chance of showers after 9 p.m. tonight. Overnight low in the upper 40s. A slight chance of showers and thunderstorms afternoon on Wednesday. Also some sunshine tomorrow. High temperature in the low 70s. 30% chance of late night showers Wednesday night. Then a 70% chance of showers on Thursday. It's been to 69. It's 66 right now at KBNU. U&I Furniture has been located in the same place for 94 years. That doesn't happen unless you're doing something right. For 94 years, family owned and operated. There's always a better buy at U&I. Downtown Logan, 28 West. First North.
Roof Rescue is your local roofing specialist, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry no matter the weather. Their team of experienced roofers is here to serve you, providing top quality service at affordable prices. From minor repairs to complete roof replacements, they've got you covered. Remember, your roof is your first line of defense in protecting your family from the elements. So don't wait until the next storm to discover your roof problems. Call Roof Rescue today at 435-999-4268. They're your trusted local roofing experts, here to keep your home safe and dry. Roof Rescue, celebrating 10 years of providing watertight peace of mind.
KVNU News Time is 5:06. It's been a popular trail for decades. The Logan Canal Trail dates back about 100 years and has been a major connection linking Logan City to Logan Canyon and other destinations. However, a few months ago, the popular trail was closed off by a homeowner who has removed the easement provision for that part of the trail. On KBNU's For the People program last week, longtime trail advocate Mark Lunt, along with Caleb Scholl, talked about the trail. Lunt said the canal trail is part of an expensive trail system.
The city, with the help of UDOT, was able to connect the trail from Herms Inn all the way up to First Dam, and there's an underpass there.
Yeah.
And so now, or at least until the trail got blocked off a few months ago, you were able to go from downtown Logan all the way up to the canyon. You could take the Bonavere Shoreline Trail over to Green Canyon and make it all the way up to Mount Naomi Wilderness.
And all that was with just 2 road crossings from downtown. Scholl said the only detour around the closed-off area now is rather treacherous to travel.
And the bypass is going up through on 400 North up to the parking lot that the Utah State University has.
Wow.
And it's all elevation. You go through this parking lot, and then you're going down just this. I've ran it the last couple of days, and it's very loose gravel, kind of dangerous, and you're going down this steep elevation, not easy on the knees or the bike, or really not family or ADA or anything accessible.
The two guests wanted to stress that they are not trying to vilify the property owners. Scholl said they support private property rights and realize that they have concerns, and it's been very frustrating for them.
What we're fighting for here is the public right-of-way that's been there for a long time, but really just respect the private property owners, but then also respect the trails, And that's one thing I have noticed is going through where they've blocked off, there's definitely been a lot more trash and litter, because when you close off something, that's going to happen. But just making sure all other trails in the valley are kept clean and nice, and so that we can continue to create a network and build that network that we already have.
Lunt said that Logan City has continued to meet with the property owners to try to resolve the issue. The city was taking comments from citizens and users of the trail until this past Friday. You might still be able to let your voice be heard at parks.rec@loganutah.org. And it's finally spring in Utah, which means it's time for more road closures and construction. Logan City officials are warning motorists that 100 East between 100 South and 200 South will be closed to through traffic during the day today, so it means should be open by now, but it will be closed again all day tomorrow. These closures will be in effect from 8 to 5, while crews effect water line repairs. In order to replace a water service line under the street, city crews will dig a trench the full width of 100 East. But officials of the Water Division are saying that the thoroughfare will be reopened each evening after 5 p.m. KBNU News Time is 5:10. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
Cache Valley Cruising.
Cache Valley's biggest summer party is almost here. The Cache Valley Cruise-In, July 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Cache County Fairgrounds. This year's headline entertainment features the Commodores. The Commodores. This year, all seats are assigned. So buy your tickets now to ensure you get the best seats available. The giveaway car is a beautifully restored 1950 Ford F3 pickup, and your ticket to the car show is your chance to win the truck. 3 days of fun includes the annual poker run, Women's World, Top Rod of Utah, a sock hop, and more. July 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Cache County Fairgrounds.
Cache Valley Cruising. Cache Valley Cruising.
This is Jay Butters, branch manager for Alta Bank in Preston. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I trust the individualized support CAPSA provides to survivors of sexual assault and rape. I know that if I refer someone to CAPSA, they will be met with belief and guided on their personal journey toward healing. I encourage you to learn more about CAPSA's impact and join the commitment to support survivors.
Learn more about CAPSA, including ways to support, at capsa.org.
Disasters don't wait for a convenient time. When the unexpected strikes, call the trusted team at Blue Sky. Remember, Blue Sky is that same great ARS team you know and trust.
This is Tom with Blue Sky Restoration. When disaster strikes, whether it's a flood, fire, mold damage, or an unforeseen accident, Blue Sky will clean up, repair, and restore your home or business like it was before. No disaster is too big or too small. For all your restoration needs, you can trust our Blue Sky team.
The Elements Restaurant invites you to the grand opening of their outdoor patio along the beautiful Logan River Saturday, May 4th. From 11:30 to 2 p.m., Elements will be offering a special chef's brunch to celebrate along with their regular menu choices. Come enjoy delicious brunch delights beside the picturesque Logan River and enter to win a free night stay at Spring Hill Suites or Town Place Suites. Live music featuring Austin Wayan and Raven Ochoa will also be on the patio from 6 to 9 p.m. Don't miss brunch and live music at the grand opening of Elements Outdoor Patio, Saturday, May 4th.
Utah is a land of endless possibilities, an adventurer's dream, a stunning place to call home, a landscape for forging your own unique path. Whatever your Utah is, you need a financial partner that can turn possibilities into realities. That's where the Bank of Utah comes in. Our tailored credit cards fit your lifestyle and your goals. Whether you're trying to build a strong financial future, improve your credit to buy a home or car, or gear up for that epic adventure, apply online or visit your local branch. Start your journey with Bank of Utah today and discover what's possible. Member FDIC.
Hey drivers, let's face it, driving can be challenging. From heavy traffic to bad weather, there's always something that keeps us on our toes. Driving is challenging, but car insurance doesn't have to be. This is Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance, an Alera Group company. As an independent auto owner's insurance agency, we work with top-notch carriers to find the best coverage and the best price. Whether you're a seasoned driver or just starting out, Quality First has your back. 435-752-0101.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Wednesday on This Morning, America's First News. Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene may be ramping up efforts to strip the gavel from House Speaker Mike Johnson, but it's expected to be an uphill battle. We'll explain why. Also, schools want to ban disruptive phones in class, but parents are opposed. And how much debt are you willing to take on for your summer vacation? Wednesday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Feels like Tuesday. Tuesday has no feel.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. More research this hour. I don't know, it's just been an interesting research week, but the Educational Research Review published a report today showing it's better for your child's reading comprehension to read physical books. But we'll talk about why this happens, because that's where it gets really fascinating. That's coming up later on this hour. Kicking things off here, the topic itself has been in the news and widely discussed since the 2020 election and even before. Utah has a really good track record on this front, but it didn't stop several bills from popping up to, as Speaker of the House, Mike Schultz said this year, address non-existent problems. He was very blunt about it. And the topic is election integrity. It's controversial. It's convenient for candidates because it boils the blood and gets people to open their wallets and donate to campaigns. And it is likely going to be a part of the presidential race conversation again this year. So with that in mind, Sutherland Institute this week sits down. Nick Dunn sits down with Justin Jones, who is executive director of the Gary R. Herbert Institute of Public Policy at Utah Valley University, and Sutherland Institute researcher Derek Monson joining the conversation as well to discuss what they call the, quote, fault lines in the debate over voting and election policies. It's this week's sneak peek at Sutherland Institute's Defending Ideas.
I'm pleased to introduce our guests, Justin Jones, who's the executive director of the Gary R. Herbert Institute for Public Policy at Utah Valley University, and Derek Monson, who's the Chief Growth Officer for us here at Sutherland Institute, where he also oversees our policy team. Justin and Derek, thank you both so much for being with us on Defending Ideas.
Thanks, Nick.
Glad to be here.
Happy to be here.
So I want to start off with, whenever we get into conversations about elections and election policy, there's something that's always on my mind over the past 4 years, and it's this phrase that I've heard said very often from various elected officials, and it's that it should be easy to vote and hard to cheat. I want to start by asking both of you, is that the right principle with which we should approach any election policy conversation? Is it really that simple? And if so, are we measuring up to that as a state and a nation? Or are there any other ways we ought to frame how we approach elections issues?
Well, I think as a way of framing it and approaching the policy of it, it makes sense, right? It's a straightforward, understandable way that has a good balance to it. Elections and voting is complicated and nuanced when you talk about administering voting and how you collect votes and when you count and when you announce. So there's lots of layers to that, right? So it's not that you're going to have one thing that solves all of those issues, but you do need a principle and a way of approaching it. And from that standpoint, easy to vote, hard to cheat is a good one.
Yeah, I would agree. In fact, I think the access to the ballot needs to be easy. Citizens who qualify to vote should be easily able to express their opinion on who should represent them or what position they should take on any given issue. And we know that recent kind of dialogue across the country has indicated that elections may be illegitimate or stolen, and yet that's not the case here in Utah. And I think it's important for people to understand there is a difference in the way we've done things here in Utah as in other states. But I can speak about Utah because that's what we know.
So does it seem like we are living up to that, at least for sure here in Utah, with the way elections are administered, that easy to vote, hard to cheat? Are we doing okay? Or are we kind of able to live up to that principle? Justin, maybe start with you. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I work with our former governor, Gary Herbert, who sits in the office next to mine. And from the moment he left office as our 17th governor, he's been very concerned about this rhetoric about elections being stolen. He spent 30 years either at the county or the state level very intimately aware of Utah's elections, its method of tabulating and preparing results. And he's seen it in a real way. So he's asked us as staff, both our undergraduate interns and faculty, to take a look at it. We visited our Utah County polling office. We've looked through and watched their process, and really we're impressed with the precautions and the efforts that are taken to make it credible. And the fact is, we feel like through our evaluation that they are. There's a difference, between one polling or one county versus widespread, sort of elections being stolen conversations. And yet what we find it would be very, very difficult for anyone to completely take over and mess with, or we have such a shared or separation of government, both vertically as well as horizontally at multiple levels, for any one group or person to take over and adjust the results. Not saying it's perfect. We know that there are issues.
Derek, you've researched and written about election policy for us here at Sutherland Institute. You've also testified before legislative bodies about this issue, not just through the lens of Utah, but the West more broadly. How do you think we're doing in Utah and the West in general? That are we living up to this principle well enough that it should be easy to vote and hard to cheat? Or are there still some areas for improvement, maybe, as Justin said?
Yeah, there's definitely both. We are living up to it, I think, pretty well. So just continuing what Justin was saying about the levels of security and checks and balances against things like fraud. When we looked into it a few years ago, and so there's been more added to this since then, we found more than 20 individual layers of security that are going on, between checking signatures, verifying signatures, giving unique identity numbers to each ballot, and checking those each time electronically as it goes through the system to avoid, same person voting multiple times, to things like keeping our ballots clean through processes that remove people who've moved out of the state or who have passed away. I do a good job of making it very hard to cheat. And on the easy to vote side, here in Utah, we're a primarily vote by mail state. Part of the law is to maintain voting centers if you want to vote in person, and so people are able to do that if that's how they want to vote. But it's hard to get easier, really, than having a ballot mailed to you, and you have several weeks to turn it in because we also have early voting. And you can do that by mail. You can do it with a Dropbox. You can go into a voting center yourself and hand it in. So, yeah, I think Utah in particular is doing really well. And the West, generally speaking, is doing well. A lot of the same security measures in particular that exist in Utah exist across the nation. Now, not every state does vote by mail. Most states do some form of early voting. And so, there's maybe there's a debate to be had there as whether we're making it easy that we could be, and certainly if you want to do vote by mail, there's a right way and a not right way to do it. The right way is how Utah did it, by starting, over 10 years ago and starting small as a little bit of a let counties figure this out and then growing organically. The not right way to do it is kind of how it happened in the pandemic, is forcing everybody to jump in and do it all at once without a lot of that preparation. And so you've seen a lot of concerns, again, some of that rightly so, with vote by mail, because if you don't do it the right way, it can cause difficulty in administrating and counting votes. But that doesn't mean vote by mail is bad. It just means you have to do it the right way. And so again, I think where there's some of those areas for improvement is figuring out how to do these things the right way, and then going about it.
You both have talked about Utah as being an example of sorts. That, as you said, Derek, there's a lot of these security measures that we have here in Utah are replicated across many states. But I want to ask about if there's anything unique about Utah. Maybe a better way to phrase it is, for a Utah voter, how should we feel about elections here in Utah? And what data do we have that says here's how Utahns actually do feel? Are elections trusted in Utah? Maybe Derek, start with you there. What's your sense of how Utahns feel about our elections here, and if it's warranted that, yes, we should be able to trust our elections here in Utah?
Yeah, I'm going to start with the second part first. So I think one thing Utah is doing is we're kind of on the cutting edge of election security and integrity, I believe. So when you look at measures like with drop boxes, Utah recently enacted a law saying that those have to be monitored by video surveillance. That's not something every state has, and there's some people who debate whether it's even necessary. But again, as a matter of saying to voters, this is a secure way of voting, Utah is there. They're also doing things with vote by mail to ensure that you can track your ballot through the process. We already have text notification, but they're wanting to attach things like add a photo to that, so you get to see how your ballot, and you can see it hasn't been tampered with. It's still in the envelope when it goes through the mail and then arrives at the voting center. Things like that, just to reassure voters that things are okay and we're doing this the right way. And if there is something wrong, that you know what the flags are. Maybe you don't get a picture of your vote, right, or of your ballot. Then you can say, hey, what's going on? And I think that then comes out, again, to the first part of the question, what people think here in Utah about how elections are. So, we did a poll a few months ago asking people about vote by mail specifically, because that's the primary way that people vote, and asked them, do you believe that is a secure way of voting? And by a 72% in favor kind of clip, Utahns and likely voters specifically said, yeah, we think it's a secure way of voting. A similar, actually even higher number, said they thought it produced fair outcomes, and that votes are counted accurately under vote by mail. So there is, in different ways of formulating a similar question about, do you have confidence in the system? Broad majorities say yes. And again, I think, the way Utah has kept itself out on the edge of improving security probably reassures voters, and you see that coming out in data.
And I'd only add that I think that there's this national rhetoric, kind of this national conversation about this. And then when you actually ask people locally about their local elections, their local ballot or county clerk, they feel differently. So there's a true disconnect, and that's appropriate. We don't know a lot of the details about how elections or votes are tabulated and secured. But we do know here, two people pick up those ballot boxes, the ballots out of each of those drop boxes. They are together when they walk into the ballot counting facility, and two people are always in there together with cameras, things like that. That there isn't a connection from the ballot counting machine to the World Wide Web for potential hacking. That those things are secure in every step with duplicate eyes watching. But then the invitation from many county clerks, all of them virtually, will let you come in and see. And I know for us and my team, my students and I, when we went, we left significantly more comfortable with the process of knowing where my ballot went when I dropped it in the box, how it was picked up, and how it was counted.
Again, a sneak peek at this week's Sutherland Institute's Defending Ideas, their weekly podcast. You can watch the full episode live now at defendingideas.org, or get to that and much, much more for the Sutherland Institute at large, sutherlandinstitute.org. And what do you think? 753-5868. This is a contentious issue. But as was kind of laid out there in this week's episode, why it's a contentious issue is sometimes a mystery. The record is pretty clear, especially here in Utah, on the way we run elections. And yet there's still a couple of candidates, even in the gubernatorial race, Phil Lyman, claiming elections in Utah were stolen left and right. Though I asked Phil on our show when he was a guest as a candidate which elections. He couldn't name one. What do you think? 753-5868. Great episode laying out a behind-the-scenes look at Utah's election system and policy that has and may in the future come regarding election integrity. 753-5868. We'll be back right after this.
Auto and Salvage has seen hundreds of you taking advantage of big money for junker vehicles and scrap metal. It's Earth Week, and DD Auto and Salvage is going to continue to give the highest possible price for junk vehicles and metal. Clean it up and get it out during Earth Week. To celebrate Earth Week, DD Auto and Salvage is providing a free barbecue lunch Saturday from 10 to 3. Everyone is welcome. Happy Earth Day, Cache Valley, from DD Auto and Salvage, 1976 West, 200 North Logan on Valley View Highway.
Today's hearing aid technology can improve not only your life, but the lives of the people who care about you. Once again, you'll be able to hear the reason for their laughter and understand conversations. Dr. Paul Danes will customize a hearing improvement program to meet your unique requirements, whatever they are. Call Dr. Danes for an appointment at 753-HERE and let him show you how.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Wednesday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. The Trump trial is underway. The chaos, the insanity, it's not getting any better. We'll break down the latest on that trial as we come up on the halfway point of the week. Plus, Buck.
Looking at these protests, little riots really in some ways on these college campuses. Lots of arrests made, encampments that are in place. Where is it all going, and what are the universities going to do about it? That's on Clay and Buck.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Interesting. Big old spider just crawled across the studio floor-to-ceiling window here.
On the outside.
Yeah, I was looking out at this beautiful view from the station here of the mountains and the blue sky and the spring-like green starting to pop up there on the foothills of the mountains, and all of a sudden this giant spider. It's interesting. I don't mind spiders. I don't kill them. Spiders are actually good, so I'm a scoop it up if you can, if it's in the bathtub, and toss it outside, which I know it probably dies outside anyway, but
depends on the temperature.
Yeah, it depends on the time of year, I guess, but I still give them a chance at least. I don't mush them because spiders are actually really, really good to have under your house and in your yard, not in your house. That's unpleasant, but it reminded me of why we react that way. There's a psychological, your brain responds to the shape of a spider in a way that you don't completely control. So even people who tell you, oh, spiders don't really bother me, yeah, put one on them. Big enough. Put a big one on them. It'll bother them. There's a thing about that shape and the number of legs that our brain says, ooh, predator, possibly poisonous, just to be safe. Let's release some chemicals that make you freak out. That is literally what the shape of a spider causes. And this is a big one went across our window. Anyway, total tangent. On the other side, this is really, really cool because I feel vindicated by this. On the other side of the news, we're going to talk about a study released today by the Education Research Review. This was a study of education data, testing data, even some medical science data, cognitive research reports, and even Scientific American's set of papers they've collected on reading comprehension habits. And they put it all together in this report. And educational psychologist Ernst Rothkopf, author of the report, says it is conclusive. In this paper just published today, reading physical books is better for your brain, it's better for your eyes, and for young people in education, you retain and show higher levels of comprehension in testing afterwards, if you're reading a physical book. But why is so simple and basic, it's almost mind-blowing. We'll talk about the conclusion of this study after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 5:32, and the news is brought to you by Franklin County Medical Center. In a move to bolster community welfare, Campbell Soup Company and the Campbell's Foundation recently allocated $880,000 in community impact grants to 44 nonprofit organizations, including a $20,000 grant designated for the Cache Community Food Pantry. The initiative aims to uplift neighborhoods where Campbell operates, emphasizing increased food accessibility and the promotion of healthy lifestyles. Campbell's operates a facility in Richmond and is currently expanding. The grant allocation process begins with Campbell employees nominating local organizations for consideration. From the numerous submissions, the Foundation's employee-led executive committee reviews applications before presenting them for final approval by the Foundation's Board of Trustees. The grants extend support to various programs encompassing food pantries, farmers markets, nutrition education, food waste reduction initiatives, physical activity programs, and the enhancement of public spaces. The Cache Community Food Pantry joins a list of recipients across 30 Campbell communities spanning 16 states, Puerto Rico, and Canada. The grant will bolster the pantry's programming and operations, aligning with Campbell's mission to foster community well-being. PacifiCorp's updated energy roadmap throws a lifeline to the region's coal industry, but critics say the new integrated resource plan is a major setback for community health and the climate. Rob Joyce, Sierra Club Wyoming chapter's new director, says the plan would add 100 million metric tons of climate pollution by 2042. It also slashes near-term investments in cheaper wind and solar, and that makes a huge bet on behalf of ratepayers to install unproven and expensive carbon capture devices on existing coal-fired power plants.
To be increasing emissions, increasing investment in fossil fuels, and putting hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars towards carbon capture when we're not 100% sure if that's actually even going to work is really dubious.
Plan also adds more natural gas to PacifiCorp's energy portfolio. Joyce worries Wyoming ratepayers, already tapped by state lawmakers to pay millions for a carbon capture compliance surcharge, will end up on the hook.
We're going to have to cover the cost of the volatility of new gas resources. The company is saying between $500 million and $1 billion per unit that they put carbon capture on. Those are all things that they pass on to the ratepayers.
Joyce says with the looming 2030 deadline to significantly reduce fossil fuel pollution in order to avoid the worst impacts of climate change, now is the time to invest big in wind and solar. KVNU News Time is 5:36.
In today's game, the momentum will shift when one team goes on a run. A run. Like the diaper run you made last night? If you're thinking of getting a vasectomy, the healthcare teams at Franklin County Medical Center in Preston are ready. A vasectomy is a highly effective form of contraception. It's a simple procedure with a short recovery time, and a vasectomy means less stress for family planning. Talk to the experts at Franklin County Medical Center in Preston about your vasectomy. Start by visiting fcmc.org today.
ABC News, I'm Daria Albinger. A former Washington State police officer wanted in 2 killings has been found in Oregon with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Authorities say Elias Huizar's 1-year-old baby, who he was accused of kidnapping, was found safe. The Senate's expected to vote tonight on a $95 billion package, which includes much-needed aid for Ukraine.
It's not going in the Ukrainians' favor in the Donbass, certainly not elsewhere in the country.
Mr. Putin thinks he can play for time, so we've got to try to make up some of that time.
White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby. The jury in Donald Trump's New York hush money trial heard today from former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker. He testified that he suppressed harmful stories about the former president and published negative ones about his opponents during the 2016 campaign. Stocks continue to roll. The Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P all closing higher again today. This is ABC News.
KBNU weather for tonight, partly cloudy skies is our forecast. There is a slight chance of rain showers after 9 p.m. tonight. Low in the upper 40s. Slight chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon on Wednesday. Also some sunshine as well. High temperature in the low 70s. 30% chance of late night showers Wednesday night. And then showers likely, possibly a thunderstorm in the afternoon on Thursday, 70% chance. High temperature in the mid-60s. It was 69 today. It is 66 currently at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by Roof Rescue, dedicated to keeping your home safe and dry from minor repairs to complete roof replacement. Celebrating 10 years of providing watertight peace of mind. Call 435-999-4268 or see roofrescueusa.com. You can always get more news at cashvalleydaily.com.
Hola, amigos. Cache Valley's Cinco de Mayo celebration is almost here. This year, we'll be celebrating Saturday, May 4th at the Cache County Fairgrounds. Join us for a day filled with music and non-stop fun for the whole family. Treat your taste buds with mouth-watering dishes from dozens of authentic vendors, serving up all your favorite Mexican delights. We've got a variety of fun activities for your little ones, from bounce houses to climbing walls and so much more. All are invited, so come experience the richness of the Hispanic culture. Thanks to our sponsors, Members First Credit Union, large enough to provide the services you need, small enough to provide the service you deserve. Gosner Foods, proudly serving the community for nearly 60 years with high-quality dairy products at their 10th West retail store. DD Auto Salvage, turn your scrap metal and junk vehicles into cash at DD Auto Salvage. Presto Products, apply for a career today at Presto Products in Lewiston. It's a celebration you won't want to miss. Cinco de Mayo, May 4th, starting at 12 noon at the Cache County Fairgrounds. Admission is free.
Have you pulled your spring sheets out of storage, and do they smell stale and need freshening up? How about your blankets and your quilts? Are things dingy from winter use? Well, go to Mount Logan Laundry. It takes no time at all to freshen everything up with their 55 and 80-pound washers and dryers, and it costs a lot less than the dry cleaners, and free Wi-Fi and drop-off service, too. Mount Logan Laundry really is the cleanest spot in town. Find them at 5th East and 9th North in Logan, or in Brigham City on the corner of 1st East and 7th South.
This is Alina Oling, CAPSA's Director of Awareness and Development. CAPSA works with businesses to provide training about domestic and sexual violence, how to recognize it, and support impacted team members. When abuse is identified, CAPSA supports the organization and provides services to their team members. This reflects CAPSA's commitment to partnering with businesses to end abuse in our community.
CAPSA is Cache Valley's nonprofit domestic and sexual violence support center. Learn more about CAPSA, including ways to support, at capsa.org.
Need a ride? Say goodbye to waiting. With the new CVTD Pool On Demand ride sharing, it's as easy as book, ride, repeat.
Ready to go? Absolutely. Let's do it.
Just open the pool app, book a trip, and voila! We will pick you up at one of our locations. Zero fare.
Wow, that was fast.
Easy, fast, and zero fare. That's pool for you. Download the app today or learn more at cvtdbus.org/pool.
Hi, this is Neil, part of the team here at Valley Recycling. We are excited for our annual Earth Day event, April 22nd through the 27th. All week long, we'll be offering bonus pricing on aluminum cans, old automobiles, appliances, copper, aluminum, steel, and other scrap metal. Just bring it to Valley Recycling at 145 North 10th West in Logan. In addition to bonus pricing, all customers will receive Firehouse subs and Cafe Sabor food coupons and be entered into win giveaways from other local vendors. Valley Recycling's Earth Day event, Monday, April 22nd through Saturday, April 27th. For pricing and information, go to valleymetalrecycling.com.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. I know as men, we don't talk about our bad hair days, but we have them. And it was nice today, and left my house with my hair still a little bit damp from the shower, kind of in a rush. And, even early it was just warm. So cracked the windows. Didn't even notice until I got somewhere, stepped out, and walked inside, saw the look on their faces, and realized I had the whole doctor. Why can I not remember his name? The doctor from Back to the Future. I'm Googling. This is... I've seen this movie a million times. Dr. Brown. I had the whole Dr. Emmett Brown hair going on. So, anyway, shout out to those folks if I scared them this morning. One of them just sent me a picture they'd taken of my hair, so that's funny. This is just a really quick... I don't know. I just think this is cool. So I've said on the show many times, I'm not a Luddite. I like my e-reader. I like... and I've always done audiobooks, so it doesn't have to be a physical book for me to enjoy reading. But I've read probably thousands and thousands of pages online and on my phone over the last 2 years alone, I would guess. I'm not against it, but I've always said, for me, nothing will replace the feel, the experience of sitting down with a physical book, especially a paperback. I'm not as big of a fan of hardbacks, although I will read them, and I prefer the old school paperback. I get that this new bigger paperback is easier on the eyes and also a little more economical for the publishers, though that didn't make them bring the prices down. I get it, but that old school, more square paperback, yeah, big fan of how that feels. I feel a little vindicated, though, after seeing this report today. This report was published earlier this week, and the article that first tipped me off about it was published today in the Deseret News online, and I've linked to that on our Facebook page. It was a study done by Educational Research Review, working with Scientific American, working with the University of Valencia, working with Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So basically, Harvard Business Review. Basically, a lot of people were involved in this. And how it was done is kind of fascinating, but I won't get into that for the sake of time. Although it is very similar to traditional ways of measuring whether education processes are working, if kids are retaining it, if they're not just testing well on it, but if they can actually write an essay about something they've learned. There are things like that were done in this as well. But overall, the conclusion is that reading physical media, physical books specifically in this study, leads to better outcomes for students and adults if you care about retaining things. I know most adults read for entertainment at a certain point in their life, almost exclusively, but reading physical media leads to better retention and comprehension. So again, most important for K through 12 age children and those in college as well. Why, though, is almost the coolest part of this. So, wait, first off, let's set the stage. So, the study explains that paper-based reading advantage increased in time-constrained reading settings and non-time-constrained compared to self-paced reading, where it was kind of a wash. Reading for the purposes of comprehension comes in virtually any form. Studying for exams, researching for your job, for work, reading insurance paperwork. That's always fun, right? Looking for information or researching a medical procedure, mental issues, social issues, reading about your latest bill from your car insurance company. All of these things require comprehension skills, not necessarily retention. Because, again, say your car insurance bill, you're reading it for comprehension, you pay the bill, you can forget about it till the next one comes. So retention isn't as big of an issue there, but comprehension is. The study, again, says that reading physical, printed media actually improves both comprehension and retention. Paper books, the study concludes, are better for comprehension because obvious things. They limit distractions. They also reduce cognitive overload and offer. This is where it gets really cool. So they think, the experts think that the reason this study shows the results it does is something they refer to as tangibility and spatial awareness, which is kind of a complicated way of saying something you're physically holding and that your brain is then interacting with in two ways, because you have to turn pages because you're physically holding a book. But devil's advocate, wouldn't that be the same for an e-reader? You have to physically hold an e-reader, right? Okay, but there's a difference. That spatial awareness part. And in the case of reading, it means a simple awareness of how much you've read versus how much you still have to read. So now, obviously, with a paperback book, this is obvious. One hand is squeezing more pages as you finish or as you start the book, and then you get to the midway point, there's a transition. Suddenly, the other hand is squeezing more pages. Well, that might be background information to you. You might not even be consciously aware of it, but your brain is. And it seems to have an effect on how much you comprehend about what you're reading and also how much you retain even years later. So again, a combination of reduced distractions and reduced cognitive overload when it comes to physical media. To translate that, you're holding this thing and you're staring right at it. It's easier for your brain to forget everything else. You're not going to get a notification on a printed book. Oh, I hope not. But if you do, something else is wrong and you need to call a professional. And then that tangibility and spatial awareness. Your brain being aware that you're holding this book so you're engaged in activity, but also the spatial awareness of your progress through the book, the pages as you've turned them, and the total size of the book itself. All of that seems to have a focusing effect on your brain and memory. That isn't to say that reading ebooks or reading anything online in a browser is bad. There are even some skills that can be learned, reducing distractions and things like that, that can help you with reading comprehension in a digital format. But the study again confirms that nothing beats holding a physical book or holding a printed paper for reading comprehension. Interestingly enough, they also found, this is kind of a side note, but when it comes to those digital distractions, they found that the average internet user, we all are familiar with browser tabs now. You can have multiple tabs open in a single browser. They found that the average person toggles between different apps or website tabs in a browser 1,200 times a day. Average 1,200 times a day. That's a lot of distraction. So, Ziming Liu, a professor of library and information science at San Jose University, said of the study, screen-based reading behavior is characterized by more time spent on browsing and scanning, keyword spotting, one-time reading, nonlinear reading, and reading more selectively. And because of that, your brain distinguishes between looking at a screen and looking at physical media. Now, that might change. Remember Hour 1 talking about Gen Z is the most online generation ever. Studies like this 10 years from now might show that their brains work differently. But for everyone else right now, reading physical media is better for your comprehension, understanding what you're reading, and your retention, which is going to come up more so in an education environment. And again, it really is mostly tied to just your brain being more aware of what you're doing when you're holding that physical book, and that spatial awareness of your progress through the book by which hand is squeezing the most pages. It seems to make a difference. Really cool stuff. I've linked to both the Deseret News article and the study itself on our Facebook page if you'd like to read it. But reading paper books leads to better text comprehension, and why is kind of fascinating. Link on the Facebook page, and we'll be back right after this.
Hi there, it's Congressman Blake Moore here. Over the last 3.5 years, my team and I have worked tirelessly to deliver major legislative wins for the nearly 27,000 uniformed and civilian airmen and women at Hill Air Force Base. From funding the Sentinel nuclear deterrence and F-35 programs to increasing basic pay for airmen and enhancing family resources. It is a privilege to engage with our service members at Hill and learn how we can offer support in Congress. I am thrilled to host my first ever National Defense in-person town hall where we will focus on issues surrounding Hill Air Force Base and the current national security environment. I'd love for you to join us on Wednesday, April 24th at 2:30 p.m. at the Hill Aerospace Museum. That's Wednesday, April 24th at 2:30 p.m. at the Hill Aerospace Museum. It's an honor to represent the men and women at Hill Air Force Base, and I look forward to this special event on the 24th. Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
You may not be ready for spring cleanup, but your trees are. Hi, this is Chelsea with Whole Tree Care. Call now because we are starting to get real busy. Let our guys come trim your trees and shrubs, and I can assure you, when the weather warms up and your trees leaf out, you'll love the way they look. Also, if any of your trees suffered winter damage from heavy snow or wind, let us come clean it up. Call 760-6587. Call now while visibility is perfect. Whole Tree Care, Hull Tree Care, 760-6587.
This is Sweetwater Window Cleaning. Now spring is here, you'll be wanting to reclaim your home from all that dirt and grime. Why not have us take care of the window cleaning for you? I'm sure you've got plenty on your to-do list already. And let's face it, when you climb that dangerous ladder to clean your own windows, they never come out as good as you'd like. Let us give you that safe, crystal clean, professional results you want. Mention this ad and we'll remove hard water for free.
Sweetwater Window Cleaning, 363-6543, 363-6543.
Have you or a loved one recently been injured in a car accident or injured in a semi-truck collision? No one deserves to be injured in an accident, but everyone deserves an advocate. Hi, Cache Valley. My name is York, and I'm an injury attorney with The Advocates. Did you know that you can be compensated for medical bills, time missed at work, as well as pain and suffering damages? A motor vehicle accident is life-changing, so let The Advocates help you get your life back on track. Let us be your advocate.
Call 801-355-5550 or chat online at utahadvocates.com.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. This was huge news today, and already a lawsuit underway, so, who knows if it'll stick, but the Federal Trade Commission today announced a rule that had been rumored and discussed and then, I guess, finalized, but they announced the approval of a rule banning non-compete agreements for workers in the United States. Now, the new rule does leave in place certain non-compete agreements that would still be allowed for upper-level management and certain situations where there was a very clear interest for a company that makes a certain product, for example, in a non-compete. But for general workers, as of today, non-compete agreements are banned in the United States. This is part of the FTC's antitrust law enforcement, and it was long rumored, but officially here. The Commission and worker advocate groups who support the rules say this is a necessary move to rein in what has become an increasingly common and abused practice of requiring workers to sign these so-called non-compete agreements, not to protect the company, but to stop the workers from quitting for a higher wage. And evidence was presented to the commission 6 months ago when they first opened this debate, showing pretty convincing evidence that especially in fast food and retail, traditionally lower-paying service jobs, they were asking employees to sign non-compete agreements in fast food. There's no reason for that a business can justify other than they could get away with it. And the belief is, I think a smart conclusion is that they were doing that to stop people from taking other jobs at other places for higher wages. That's abusing the non-compete agreement protocol, and the FTC agreed and just banned it outright. Now, again, this doesn't apply to some situations and to higher level management positions where certain types of company training and insider info might actually be at stake. This is just for general, mostly hourly employees in service industries. Non-compete agreements not going to be allowed going forward. The National Chamber of Commerce has already announced they plan to sue over this. U.S. Chamber of Commerce, largest business lobby group, said in a statement in response to the announced rule today, quote, "This decision sets a dangerous precedent for government micromanagement of business and can harm employees, workers, and our economy." Suzanne Clark, U.S. Chamber President CEO, said, "Not sure I'm convinced, Suzanne. It's hard to justify a non-compete agreement in a fast food service job. What is the purpose of that? It really looks like it's just to kind of keep that employee there because they wouldn't be able to go get a job at another fast food place if they quit. In fast food, other than the fry sauce, mixture or something like that, there aren't a lot of trade secrets in fast food. I don't know. Hard to justify in the service industry. I think the rule was probably a good decision. The lawsuit, though, will come. These business lobby groups have a lot of money, and we'll see if it sticks around. But, again, pretty big news today from the FTC. If you'd like to read more about it and the debate that led up to the rule announcement today, I've linked to it on our Facebook page. And that's our show for today. We'll be back with more tomorrow. Dave Ramsey next here on KVNU Logan.
Breaking news and stimulating talk.
America is ours.
KVNU Logan, 610 AM and 102.